right, and welcome to the Vergecast for the week of July 8th,
Yes, that is correct.
2013.
You were right on the
Not
money.
sure about that.
Yeah, 2013. I'm Josh Topolsky,
I'm Neil Patel.
I'm Ross Miller.
and we're excuse me. We're back on the we're back on the we're back on the Vergecast, where we discuss the week in technology culture,
Yes.
culture, and the culture of feelings.
Does that happen every time you cough? Your voice just completely
I have a
changes?
totally different set of voices depending on the cough.
It's like one cough.
Anyhow,
Two
we're
coughs
back.
in, he turns British.
We're back. We're Ross and I are sandwiching Nilay in colors,
Plaid, yeah.
in plaid.
I was going to say whiteness.
We're in different gangs. He's in the Spearmint gang, and I'm in the Bloods. Spearmint
Cool.
gang just wants to spread.
let me
Wants to
just-
spread freshness.
Green with envy.
An announcement.
pun.
Yeah.
Do we have a meta?
Nilay has an
you
announcement.
may notice that this is the wrong Miller.
Yes.
It's our secondary Miller. Paul Miller is busily off writing his book in Colorado.
Paul Miller.
So he's around.
Paul Miller is around, but in Colorado, he is on
He's book writing stuff.
book. He's on book writing leave, basically, and he's actually
he'll be
he's
in.
actually gone to Colorado to work on his book. So he will be on sporadically.
Yeah.
but not. He's been on sporadically, so about the way he's been on. It's just you have nothing new to get used to whatsoever.
I'm still Miller number 2 though.
But you're still the second Miller.
All right.
And you can still tweet at him whenever you want.
Yeah,
Just go nuts.
he's still on the internet.
Yeah,
that's
we
the one
think,
thing.
I hope.
I mean, as far as we know, we don't. Does Colorado get the internet?
I saw him on Xbox.
Oh,
so
well,
he's there.
If he's on the Xbox, he's on the internet.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so okay, that's a little housekeeping announcement.
Yeah, people have been asking.
And okay, so yeah, we have a big show, a lot of stuff to talk about. Today was a very newsy day.
Oh, just a lot going on. Actually, the whole week has been nuts.
Yeah, what do we have? What's on our?
Let's just start with today.
Let's do it.
Let's start with the things that happened today.
Today,
This morning. No, T-Mobile was like
That was yesterday. Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Nokia event was today.
I finally watched our supercut of.
John Legere is
John
Just
Legere.
Amazing and insane.
Yeah, sorry,
and
that was
I just
yesterday.
but
Let's
I
talk
mean, he's
about
a
today.
legend.
Yeah.
And I keep asking T-Mobile to let me at him.
Yeah.
So I can talk to
You'd
him.
think he'd want to talk.
Right.
Just T-Mobile, get it together.
T-Mobile. Let's be sensible. Let's get real with each other. Okay. Let us talk to
Yeah.
your CEO.
Let me have him.
It wouldn't kill you.
Look, what's he gonna do? He's gonna swear a little bit.
What's the worst that could happen? He just strips nude and slaps Nilay in the face with his penis.
that actually?
That is
probably the
amazing
worst that could happen.
I've never
That's
hoped for
an
something
adult,
so
very
weird.
adult. The show got very adult very quickly. Anyhow, that does seem like the worst that could
Although-
happen. Also, the best that could happen.
Metaphorically,
Absolutely.
that's
What's
what
going
he's
on
been
with my hair right
trying to do to AT&T this whole time. So
Okay. You just got that mental
Let
image in here.
us have this pregnant pause just kind of go on for a little while.
whatever. This morning was enormous news. He's amazing. He's amazing. I want to
That-
talk. We'll
Just
talk
imagine
about this
no pants right there. Just
Look,
no.
man, I'm
Absolutely.
now a
and
T-Mobile
swinging.
customer.
No pants
because
and
he's
swinging.
crazy.
Are you?
Are you really?
Well,
I've been thinking
yeah.
about switching to T-Mobile
Well,
based on their new plans.
Well, my iPhone that I've had in my AT&T account for years is still the iPhone.
You've gotten
Right.
a new T-Mobile account?
But there's a new T-Mobile SIM in my Nexus.
interesting.
HTC one. I almost called it a Nexus 4.
well, it's basically an Nexus.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, anyhow, go ahead.
but the big news this morning is Microsoft. Without question,
Yeah.
probably the biggest news in the industry this week.
Huge news.
Huge news. So Microsoft has completely reorganized itself, which was, I think Kara Swisher reported it a few weeks ago that this was like in the works. Executives have been leaving Microsoft, like Don Matrick just left Xbox to go run Zynga before it happened, and now they're announced. And the changes are pretty major. So Steve Ballmer sent around a memo, which is, I'm just going to say it, one of the worst examples of corporate bullshit I've ever read in my life.
Wow.
I mean, it's really like, you should read it. It's like,
Several thousand words.
it's 2,600 words. It was so long that we wanted to put it all in the post, the
Yeah.
news post.
Yeah.
And it was so long that we couldn't figure out a way to do it, so we threw it in the forums.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll find some excerpts as we go through the news here because it's so long I have to like go find them. But the top line is basically Julie Larson Green, who just took over from Steven Sinofsky as head of Windows, is no longer the head of Windows.
Hold on, let me stop you. Is there a reason we can't hear each other in our earpieces? Why am I wearing the earpiece?
So that they can talk to us.
All right, but shouldn't we be able to hear each other? Don't
Yeah,
we
that's
normally
why we
hear
have
each
it.
other?
They've replaced the headphones.
They're looking into it.
They are
Can
looking
they
into it.
can they hear us?
The people.
Can the folks out in America
The real people.
and in the rest of the world,
Yeah.
Greater Europe, as I like to think of it. Just kidding. That's very insulting.
Yeah.
It's actually more like greater.
to
It's
whom?
like Europe is actually really okay. Just forget it.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst?
Get stripped completely nude.
You slap in the face with the penis. Go on. Go on.
So back to Microsoft.
Please get back.
back to the org chart news that
Yeah.
I have to present you today. What? It's going to be great.
Go for it.
Who
Yeah.
loves org charts? Look, she took over from Steven Sinofsky.
Yeah.
Now she's no longer the head of Windows. She's
Yeah.
the head of devices in entertainment.
Yeah, and
games.
we talked about this. I heard a little of my voice. We talked about this earlier, and
It's always such a
and your
delight.
take on this is that
And then
Sorry,
just
go ahead,
finish it.
yeah.
Terry Myerson, who was the head of Windows Phone,
Yeah.
is now the head of all of Windows, all
Yeah.
operating systems.
Yeah.
So that's Windows, Windows Phone, Xbox.
that's correct.
Go ahead.
Well, we talked about this earlier, and you mentioned that you thought that the move for Julie is for Larson. Was it just two last names, Larson Green?
Larson Green.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to say Larson Green. I don't know which for
JLG.
Julie Larson. Anyhow,
JLG.
JLG. That the move for her is actually a kind of weird demotion, and
Yes.
I have to say. There was an article in Wired, sort of like she's the heir apparent, but I'm not sure that that's the case.
When she was the head of Windows, that was obvious.
Yeah,
right?
and what's interesting is when you think about in Microsoft's hardware division, really it's just Xbox that's and the thing that's making money. I mean, they're not
Right.
making money
Mice,
off of
right?
yeah, mice and keyboards, but their big the Halo product is the Surface.
But it's
they're not really. I don't think they're making money on that. I don't think it's considered a success
Right.
by anybody's measurement.
Right.
And you've got Xbox, which is like for a long time was actually kind of a loss leader, and is now I guess turning some profit. I would imagine at this point it has to
Yeah,
be.
but it's
turning
not
a
making
profit.
money necessarily because it's the hardware. It's making money because they can sell things to
Right,
it.
'cause
They
the
sell
ecosystem there,
platform.
yeah.
And that's Myerson again. Like he's
Right.
owning that.
Right.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, so Surface is great, but Surface has a leader, Panos Panay. Like, he's in charge of the Surface. Xbox has a leader, right? There's somebody in charge of the Xbox hardware and ecosystem.
Yeah.
Like, saying that's great. Maybe they'll expand into more devices. I think the future of every company is to make integrated devices.
Right.
So that's a great project for, like, she's not in charge of the big success.
Is
right?
that the future of every company? I mean, I don't know, because if Microsoft struck a deal with every cable box maker to put Microsoft software on there, then it would just be kind of a Microsoft play for the living room or whatever.
I think that was
I'm just
I think
wildly
that's-
speculating. I'm not
that's-
saying
but
they're
that's
doing that.
like the old Microsoft.
Well, but
the new
but-
Microsoft
but
is we're
we
going to make
assume
Xbox.
yeah, but we assume that you make a
box.
box. But we assume that you make the box and you put it in the living room, and then like that's the thing, or you make the box and people put it in their pocket.
I think
but
the
that
old
is
Microsoft
that is
was the software licensing Microsoft.
that is
The
the
new
last
Microsoft
decade.
is
The last decade has shown that, but I'm not
the
sure
Surface.
that's.
But look, what are we expecting from Microsoft the next few months? Obviously, they're going to put out the Xbox, which is hardware they built and designed.
that's right.
They're going to do a new Surface. I'm
Yeah,
sure of it.
that's
Probably
right.
a smaller Surface, and there's lots of discussion of a Surface phone. So that's like she has a lot on her plate to manage.
Right,
Like those
right.
are big projects to
Right.
manage.
Right.
But none of them are Windows Phone, and Xbox software.
Yeah.
And that's Microsoft. That's whatever. Like those devices are great, and I think the future of Microsoft is more integrated
but I
devices
think
like
when
that.
you look at it, maybe it is with this new streamlined hierarchy. Her role becomes much more important because there are really fewer spokes in the
Right.
wheel. That there's only a few main spokes. She's got one of them. Myerson has one of them, and Ballmer's kind of sits at the top, right?
Right.
Like they're basically on either side of the equation
And-
of their
Right.
of their offerings.
Yeah, and
Right.
to your point, man, like we are saying, like Myerson has more control. It's like arguably 90% of Microsoft's business. Julie Larson Green for the next 6 months has a harder job because these are brand new products that
Right.
she has to sell.
Right.
No,
Like Windows isn't changing that much in the
I'm
next
just
6
saying.
months.
I didn't say. I don't think it's a demotion. I think it's a weird like. She used to be in like Steven Sinofsky left. It was a big deal. The person who replaced him is now not doing that job.
Right.
And somebody else
It
is
is.
doing
That
that
is.
job.
That's the oddest part to me is that
Yeah.
the job she was just handed was now taken away from her, and maybe she didn't want it. Maybe
Yeah.
she was like, "I'd rather be doing something else."
Yeah, the internal politics of that I don't know.
Right. We don't know the answer, but anyhow, it is a big move for Microsoft.
It's a big move.
But it is also.
And so then the overarching goal is like what you're saying. Like there's two sides of Microsoft. There's software and devices.
Yeah.
Their line in Ballmer's email is we're one Microsoft, which is like Sony's been running around saying they're one Sony
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
2 years. It hasn't.
How's that going?
It's not going
This
so
is
well.
just the Apple-fication of all companies.
No, and that's it. So they're now organized along functional groups, which is the
Right.
way Apple's been organized forever. And like, so Microsoft used to have like Office and Windows and like different, and now they're just one company with like
Right.
apps, cloud engineering.
I wonder how much this is really
Marketing,
felt at
right.
the employee level, and how much is just like.
I think this is a big deal.
How much is just an org chart rearrangement.
Right. Well, how many?
I think it's felt that the this is why executives are leaving Microsoft.
Right.
Right. I don't think.
Right.
I think engineers are just being told to do.
I mean, a lot of people have made a rearranging deck chairs in the Titanic
Yeah.
analogy today. I mean, do you feel like this is does this feel like a for show or futile or desperation, or does this feel necessary? I think it's a little of both. I think it's a little bit for show. It's a little bit out of desperation to get some further control over what's going on in the company. I mean, here's my impression based on things I've heard from people familiar with the matter and based on my observations. My gut feeling is Windows in its current form is not considered a success at the company, and that the discrepancy between this confusion about RT and the x86 versions of Windows and the way that it's been marketed and the way they've been sold and the way they've been discussed publicly has not been well received within Microsoft.
I think Windows RT, at this moment, is an enormous failure.
I mean, Windows RT is, from what I can tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears to be a completely failed product.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I can't see, I'm not sure. I mean, I know that
We
there are
actually
people.
ran today that we're cutting the price of Windows RT.
And I know that there are
to
people who
$49.
have the Surface, and I think the Surface, the RT version of the Surface has a lot of good qualities.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of what Windows is trying to do, like you've got Windows Phone on one side, which seems to be getting a little bit of a foothold. We talked about this earlier too.
right.
It's getting market share. It's number 3.
Yeah.
It's gained market share because BlackBerry has
BlackBerry's
lost
kind of
market
out.
share,
Yeah.
but also because they're getting better at making stuff, and people are starting to go like, hey, this is a viable alternative. So you've got Windows, and then you've got Windows Phone and Windows. Those are the real products.
Yeah,
And
right.
Windows RT is like this sort of, it's just like a man without a country.
Yeah.
It's basically like, who's the user for that? It's a really specialized user.
Yeah.
I don't think developers are flocking to it. I don't think anybody's making hardware for it.
I think we saw one piece of hardware in the last.
But it was a
6
big.
months.
But that was the big thrust of the start of Windows was
Right.
the Surface and Windows
And
RT.
if you think about the way they rolled it out,
Yeah.
was first they announced Windows on ARM at CES.
Yeah.
And it was literally just Windows on a new processor. And they're like, this is a big deal.
No, they made a big deal out of it,
Like,
and
why?
they basically made it sound like in not too long of a time
Yeah.
we're going to be all ARM. We're going to be Windows is just going to be an ARM operating system.
We ran a lot of stories about the end of Wintel.
Yeah, and what happened was the ARM part was a total failure. Nobody's really adopting it. Nobody seems to like it. Hardware makers don't want to make stuff for it. Microsoft, hardcore Microsoft users are pissed about it.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to the x86 version, and they're making the x86 version more like traditional Windows.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back down this rabbit hole that we were spelunking down recently, but I really don't understand why that Surface RT wasn't just like the Metro tablet.
Oh, God. It's funny. It's so.
I really
was
don't-
at
I don't
the
get it.
Nokia event today. And sort of at the end of the event, everybody kind of stands around and chats for a minute before everybody disperses. And we that conversation came up. They've got Windows Phone. Nokia put out the 1020 today, which is a fairly interesting device because of its insane camera. And it's they should have just called all of this Metro. Down the line,
Right.
here's our mobile operating system. It's Metro,
Or whatever the name would be. It doesn't have to be Metro.
Right.
Could have been.
And they just completely confused it.
I mean,
Yeah.
they just if look, Microsoft seems to be really psyched on Apple strategies. Given their
true.
given their reorg today, if they really wanted to do what Apple does, they would have just said, "This is going to be our mobile platform. This is for tablets and phones, and it is going to have a bunch of compatibility with our desktop. But our desktop is going to be something totally different, which would have given them the flexibility to focus on an actual with Windows Phone. You do get the impression they've been able to focus on making a better mobile platform. They're like, hey, there's stuff that was broken in version 1. We're going to fix it in the next version, and they did fix it. And it's now you've got this weird problem where you have to be fixing something that's very similar at the same time that isn't really getting any attention. You've got to worry about RT and x86 for the same platform that isn't the same platform. And you've got to worry about Windows Phone. It's why not just have that mobile platform?
Yeah.
Just scale up what
I mean,
you're
that's
doing on
literally
phones.
what iOS does, right?
Right. And it works great.
And
And that's what Android is doing, right? They're just taking the phone interface and
it's
scaling
like
up.
a weirder
But they also
extent of
have- they
Android.
also have Chrome
Android
OS.
literally scales up.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying, but I'm saying that the basic idea is that the underlying, the core is, and the UI and everything else is all just mobile only, really.
And I think the last selling point was always going to be like, well, ARM has better processor, but then with Haswell, like that's become like the last thing that just doesn't matter anymore. Like,
Right.
With the new chips. Like,
I mean, if my
battery life is
MacBook Air is
moot.
any indication, though it is a larger device, I mean, but still, the battery life is getting there. It's not the same as ARM, but it's getting there.
Right.
It's perplexing, man. I really wish we could have seen what it would be like had there been this divide of the mobile, of Microsoft's mobile.
But their line was always no compromise.
Well, yeah, but the compromise is they don't have success with that device.
Right.
That's it's only one. There's only one compromise: success.
Right.
Right.
You know,
that
because
was
the
their
truth
line,
is-
and they thought they could differentiate by saying no compromises.
Right.
Here's a thing that turns into another thing, and like
That did not
it
happen.
hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Let me just give you one Ballmer line here.
Please do.
We will plan across the company, comma, so we can better deliver compelling integrated devices and services for the high-value experiences and core technologies
Yes.
around which we organize.
High value experiences.
Wow.
It's just like you could have.
I love high value
He
experiences.
needs an ad like this. This is a really important memo that he sent to a
Yeah.
lot of people that
Yeah.
got out to the press that millions of his customers are reading.
They published it.
And it reads like he
They
just-
published it.
Yeah. But he sent, but like
Right,
it,
right,
it's out in
right.
the world, right? And it's like you should have made this half as long,
Yeah.
like easily half, maybe even a quarter as long.
It's like one word for every
Do
employee.
you think? I like Ballmer, but do you think there's any chance?
It's
that
it's literally it's like I think they have like 10,000 employees.
Yeah.
It's like it's
they have
it's,
more than that?
Is it
Yeah.
A lot. Who,
50,000,
Microsoft
90,000?
has a
Maybe.
lot more than 10,000 employees. It's like 50.
Is it
So maybe 60.
90,000 plus. according to
90,000.
Tom.
90,000?
That's
Yeah, I don't know where you.
Tom
Apple has
I
like.
think Apple has 10.
No, Apple has over 30.
Apple has who has 10? Do we have 10?
Yes, we have 10,000. We have 10,000
I don't know where
writers
that
at the
number
Verge.
came. It was just in my mind.
I mean, maybe in 1985 they had
That's probably
10,000
what it
employees.
was. Yeah.
Were you watching Pirates of Silicon Valley by any chance?
I have no idea where that number.
Yeah, I
was
don't
in
know
my
where it
head.
came in. Yeah, but they only have about like 8 times more than that.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Look.
Okay. So what else? What else today?
So then the Nokia event.
Or the Nokia
which was,
event.
I think, very interesting.
Lumia 1020,
Went and
which is
played with it.
by the way, like 1020. It's like it's got a 720p display, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's weird because all these phones now have 1080 screens, and now they have this. Their naming convention is really bad. They need to have names for phones. I think numbers are not the way to go, in my opinion. So it's like the 1020.
Well, it's a Lumia, a Nokia, which, by the way,
Yeah,
even,
Lumia 1020.
Even Elop
Right.
like kind of stumbled over. Let me
Why
say
not call
one
it
thing.
like the Lumia Zap or something?
Let me say one thing about this event. real
Lumia
quick.
Click. That's what I'd call it.
I will say
the
it's
Lumia
still-
Click.
It's still
No,
better
it
than like
sounds
letters.
It's not
The
like
Xperia
heavyweight
Z.
enough for
The
like,
Lumia
the camera technology.
Photon.
Yeah, something like that.
I think everyone keeps saying the Nokia Zoom, which like not a bad name.
The Nokia Zoom. How about the Lumia Zoom?
Yeah, the
Lumia
Zoom
Zoom.
thing. Okay, so
Lumia
let me start at the beginning.
Okay.
First of all,
Room.
Illuminate us.
full credit to Nokia today.
Yeah.
For putting on maybe the best press event I've been to in the past
Wow.
year or two.
Really?
Better than WWDC?
Flat out. WWDC was like a shantytown disaster compared
Really?
to the Nokia event today.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and not just because
Better
of
than
like,
I.O.?
yeah, a little bit better than
Shorter.
Shorter, less insane, and not just because there was like power and Ethernet, like that's like journalist stuff. Like I'm talking like the staging and execution of their event.
Yeah.
There were some like awkward parts, and like Elop is kind of a weird presenter sometimes.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they opened with like there was a transparent screen that we thought was the real screen, and we thought like Elop would be standing like a foot away from us, but that was a projection screen,
Ooh.
and then he was behind it, and then there was
Interesting.
another screen behind him. So there was like 3 layers of stuff happening.
Wow.
And it was so cool looking that Dan initially thought that it wasn't real, that he was looking at a 3D display, and I had to correct the live blog. Dan was like, they've turned on a 3D display and 3D Elop is walking around. And I was like, no, Dan, he's right in front of
actually
me.
Elop.
It's real.
literally in
It's
front of-
actual. It's ELOP actual.
I got you
So that
now.
was awesome. So they go through the thing,
Yeah.
and like there was some weird stuff, and we can talk about that.
Poor Dan.
They're all wearing yellow
Dan
shoes.
was so confused.
He was like,
this
I was like,
3D?
literally, I was like, Dan, he's
Is
real.
this 3D? I don't- He's like trying to touch things. It's like moving
just waving
objects.
his
Yeah, he's
hands
like
around.
he's like making the
It's
screen
like it's
wiggle.
really raining on me.
Is this? Yeah. Okay. Good.
The sparkles, they look like sparkles.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
That's from Taylor Swift when in 3D.
Okay,
Do you remember this?
I don't
Anyway.
quote Taylor Swift.
That's
It's when I went to the Sony
the
event.
Sony thing from CES.
They shot sparkles on us, but they were shooting with 3D cameras. And we were wearing 3D glasses.
I don't know. I wasn't
We were
there.
supposed to- it
I
was
was
amazing.
doing real work.
I was working. I was watching Taylor Swift at a Sony event.
You're watching Swift.
That's hard work.
All right. Anyhow. Oh, there
Anyway,
it
so
is.
they do all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're seeing it. I'm like, no, he's right there. He's literally right there.
The greatest trick Elop
is
ever
great.
did is convince
Yeah.
the world he wasn't
Yeah.
there.
This is It is a lot of showmanship for a guy. For
Anyway, so that was great. And then at the very end of it, the second set of screens opened to reveal the gigantic like hands-on garden that they had
Nice.
built
that
behind
was
it.
crazy to
And
see.
that was like
And people lined
literally
up with
like the
wine
journalists
glasses.
were like and like
Wow.
that never happens
Wow.
in that kind of room. So
Wow.
like very well done.
This is
to
it.
Nokia.
This is it.
They
This
did-
is the
they
Lumia's
spent-
moment.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of money on this.
They're
but,
like, this is it for us.
But the two things that were interesting
Go out
to
with
me
the bag.
going
Yeah.
from it, one, they focused entirely on the camera.
Oh
Like,
yeah, so
it was
they didn't
what,
say the words
20
Windows
minutes?
Phone for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't say Windows Phone or app or software. I think I saw Sasha Segan tweet like, "Does it connect to the internet? Does it run software?
Is it a phone?
Is
Who
it
cares?
just a camera?
Who cares?
Which is amazing. Like this was a hardware launch.
Right.
They were down to talking about how when you shake the phone, you can hear the ball bearings and the image stabilizer move around.
Is that good?
He was,
I wanted something to click when I clack around.
I want to freak
shake
out when
my
I
phone.
drop
I mean, I
something.
don't think it's
Yeah.
like I don't think
Like,
it's like,
I
wow.
broke this.
I don't think it sounds broken.
I spent so much money and now it's broken. It's
But it was-
$300.
It was a hardware
Yeah.
launch.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yes,
300
they launched a phone.
Well, no, but like it was
No, I saw this. Oh, look, they have a grip. I didn't
like
see the
if you
grip.
compare to Samsung, how Samsung launched the S4.
Isn't this just the Samsung phone camera? Isn't that just what this
yeah,
is?
it looks
Pretty
exactly like
much.
the Galaxy Zoom.
It doesn't actually have that grip. That's just an add-on.
That's
Yeah,
an
you-
add-on.
you buy
It's a
that
battery
separate.
case. So you put in the thing and it gives you 50% more battery.
No, thank you.
So if you think about how Samsung launched the S4,
Why would I want a phone that's like the size of a camera?
because it's
like
a camera.
that's why I don't. I have a phone, so I don't have to
'Cause
have a
it's a
camera.
camera.
Right.
It's a 41 megapixel camera.
But like,
Anyway.
but they can't. Like, I mean, they can't really do anything to Windows Phone. Like Samsung can say, like, look, we put all this crap
No,
software
that's what
on it.
Samsung,
Yeah.
like literally the S4 is like, look, we made this hardware. Don't think
worry
about
about
it
it.
too much.
Right.
It's a gigantic screen surrounded by plastic.
Hey, you can.
Yeah, but you can like look at all
Yeah.
the dumb
Yeah.
shit we did with the software.
Right.
Nokia's like, we can't do anything to software.
Right.
We went all in
Check
on
out
this crazy
So
hardware.
is the camera
Right.
actually 41 megapixels?
Yes.
It's not. It's not 41.
41 megapixels.
What am I going to do with the 41 megapixels?
The files are 10 megabytes a piece.
Jesus.
But they're locked into the Pro Camera app. So all the other apps on the phone, the camera roll gets access to 5 megapixel,
Right.
like all interpolated, like shareable images. That's what they're calling
Look,
it.
I'm going to say this is going to make my Instagrams look amazing.
So
Yeah,
here's the thing. So
it's funny. Every time I Instagram,
it
so every
doesn't
time
have Instagram.
Every time, no, it has no Instagram.
Never
but every
mind
time I
then.
Instagram a picture,
Dead on
somebody without fail is like, "What phone is that?"
Yep.
And it's like, dude, it's somebody actually pointed this out in my last one. They're like, S4 one iPhone. It doesn't matter. It's an Instagram picture. Like it is this big, and
Yeah.
it's got a filter on it, and it doesn't matter how good the camera is. Like
That's
not
great.
really.
That's why
Yeah.
people like Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Go on.
But like, so it's 41 megapixels.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of time talking about zooming.
Yeah.
Which is like a lie, because the camera doesn't actually.
It's digital zoom.
But it's,
It's
just
digital zoom.
taking a
Because it
bigger
has
picture.
41 megapixels, it's
You
like
can-
less horrible digital zoom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like everything still looks like super fringy. And like
Zooming is
halo.
not. I can't tell you the last time I used a zoom function. Actually, I have used a zoom function, the digital zoom function, but
Well,
only out
so
of like
it's
weird
bad.
desperation.
It's like here's what they've done. They've made the best digital zoom ever.
yeah,
Cool. Like yeah,
That
it's
is
like
cool.
It's neat, but like
I don't know. I kind of want it.
I don't think that most people are like, man, I really wish I could take a picture of a factory and then zoom in to see. Like,
I was saying that
to
I
see,
had,
like,
I
fringy.
had a thought the other day. I just told you this
Yeah.
in our front page call. I thought for a moment, I was like, what if I just went all in on Microsoft? Like just
Yeah.
switched to a PC.
Yeah.
Got like a Surface or whatever, and or whatever laptop I thought was good, and got a Windows phone, and just migrated all of my calendars and all of my and everything off of Google. And I was like, maybe that would be cool. That could be cool. And then I remembered Maps,
Yep.
and then I just completely.
And then you
got-
remember the fact that the Windows Phone mail client destroys Gmail email
I
threads?
just the whole thing. I just like I started realizing of all the repercussions, the real world repercussions.
Yeah.
Right.
And I decided that I couldn't do it.
But I mean,
I have to say, it is weird to think that like I'm now trapped essentially by
You're
Google.
trapped.
By Google.
Yeah.
Who
It's happily
That's why this is
making-
why it's so frustrating. We should talk about this, but they're making all these changes to their apps and stuff. I know I'm segueing out of
No,
Microsoft,
whatever.
No, it's great, it's fine.
but it is annoying that when you're a user of, I mean, particularly with Google, Apple does the same thing. I mean, iOS 7 is a great example.
Right.
You're going to get the iOS 7 update, and you're going to be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, why is it like this? This is not what I bought.
Right.
This is something totally different. Like Gmail is like they've changed Gmail on the phone now, and it's like not as good as the last version, and it's annoying to use in some ways. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Oddly enough, I find the Gmail
can't do
iOS
anything
app
about it.
better than the Android version right now. Like, it's this weird kind of, I'm sorry, maybe I'm weird
Really?
about that.
I guess you like waiting for things to load.
Yeah.
A little bit. Get time.
I mean, it has
relax.
a nicer user interface.
It does.
But it still is
It's
not
the push
good.
notification
really
is terrible.
slow.
But
Yeah.
Anyhow, all right, what else
So
do we have?
1020. So
1020, yeah, let's finish
So
out that.
it's not nearly as thick as you might expect. The
Yeah.
camera sticks out a little bit.
Yeah.
The photos that it takes are like they have the new optical image stabilization that they introduced.
I mean, it looks ridiculously huge.
it's
Is
not
it huge?
quite as big as that.
I don't know. It's kind of nice looking. I don't know. It kind of looks pretty good.
There's
if they had this running Android, that would be
so
amazing.
there were two moments. Like
like really amazing.
that's what everyone's been saying today.
Nokia.
Yeah.
Why don't you make an Android phone? I mean, nobody's really stopping you at this
Elop,
point.
like,
they
basically-
don't have an exclusivity deal with Microsoft,
No,
do
Microsoft
they?
side with
so
HTC.
they
Remember the Windows
basically
Phone
got asked
8X.
this question 100 times today, and we were told that like Nokia has its earnings coming out next Thursday, so they can't like. They were basically like our people can't talk about anything except.
Yeah. I would buy a
except the
Nokia
phone.
Android phone in a
So
heartbeat.
so Elop
Yes.
was on stage and they were like, how's it going to Microsoft? And he was like, well, we knew this would be a challenge, and we think the Android landscape is really harsh. And he said something really interesting. He said, we used to think about Android as a competitor, but now we only think about a certain hardware manufacturer as a competitor. And he was obviously referring to Samsung.
Well, you can put it any way you want.
And I was
but
like, dude, if you were running their same platform, like you would really be competing with them.
no, that's the
Yes.
thing. You're bound to sell more Nokia phones running the platform that people want than otherwise.
Right.
Right.
You know, it's like you got both things working against you. You're fighting an uphill battle because you have no
Well,
brand presence.
But so
and
I think
and
what they're saying is they want Windows Phone to be a big success, and they want to be the Samsung of Windows Phone. That's like
that's like
they
the
probably
bet that
they
they're
probably
making.
will be
So
the
they wanna be,
Samsung of
like, the
Windows
first
phone.
place of third place.
Actually, Samsung will probably be the Samsung of Windows phone.
No, Samsung's Windows phones suck.
No, I mean, they are the Samsung of Windows
Yeah.
phone. I mean,
Yeah.
Nokia is like, congratulations, you're the Samsung of
You
Windows
beat
phone.
HTC.
The problem is your market share is like single digits.
Right, but they've got to overtake iOS somehow, right? Or the entire
How are
pie.
they going to overtake?
If you want to elite,
Who's
like,
overtaking iOS?
like Windows Phone?
Windows phone?
Like in terms of market,
I'm not saying it
market
couldn't
share,
You're
happen.
running
Where?
like a low.
I'm not saying
number
it couldn't
3.
happen, but, like,
you've
how
got
many-
to at least set a goal of being
How many
number
handsets?
2.
How many handsets did they
It's
sell?
a lot. But I'm saying like setting a goal that's less than we want to go from 3 to 2. Like we want to go from really bad 3 to mediocre
Less
3.
bad 3,
It's
yeah.
like
Well,
that's a bad goal.
that's what they're doing. I mean, that's basically what they're doing, right?
I mean, I guess. I mean, they're
Well, they went from
they're-
4 to 3. Next thing is high 3.
They went from 4, they were only at 4 because they literally didn't exist before
Right,
that.
right.
Like they did okay.
I don't understand.
Like,
Are you arguing for or against the Nokia Android device?
I mean, I would if they made this camera with an Android, like on an Android phone, like
Yeah,
I
it'd
would,
be
Or
incredible.
what
would
do
be
you
great.
need? What do you need from Windows Phone to make this work? Or Nokia augmenting Windows?
Oh,
Phone?
let's go back on this. This is
Okay,
it's
fine.
like all
It's
of the
endless.
all of the ecosystem needs all of the apps that they don't have need to be there. All
Yeah.
of the ecosystem needs to be working. Who is that?
It's my wife.
Oh,
She's okay. She's cool. Do you want me to?
so you want to put that on
answer?
mute?
All right, let's
gonna
check my
mute
phone.
that?
I've got a lot
Just-
of phones here, man.
just a
This one's
suggestion.
brand new. I just got it.
Yeah, Neil. Should we talk about this?
Well, let's finish the 1020. Then we can
That's
talk
it. Isn't there anything else to talk
Well,
about?
so it's $300.
$300.
It's only an
Yeah.
AT&T,
$300, by the way. Like,
And-
they're really pushing their luck with that.
Right.
and it's only an AT&T.
Well, forget about.
And
They don't have enough customers to sell them
there
on
was
other.
this moment where I actually kind of like wanted to hiss during the press conference.
Yeah.
But I was sitting too close to like loudly hiss.
I can buy this
Yeah.
this
When
month.
Ralph De La Vega came out and he's like, "We loved working with Nokia on this project." And I want to be like, "What did you do? Did you
Yeah.
go there? Did your camera engineers show up in
Yeah,
Finland?
yeah. AT&T was like,
The hell did you do, man?
Steven, it's looking good, but we just want to check out this camera and make sure it's up
You
to.
didn't do
We want to make sure it's up
anything,
to AT&T. Have you seen our Pantex? we want to make sure this is up to AT&T camera standards.
I mean,
So
it was.
I wanted to ask, speaking of the Q&A, there was a, what was it? I think the Forbes woman had asked about,
Oh,
why
yeah,
are you
so-
working with AT&T? Because they
She
suck.
did. So that was the best question. Like again, best press event ever. Like it's well staged, well managed, and then the Q&A, Forrester Research.
Right.
She was
Oh,
like,
Forrester, yes.
Was that what it was?
As Forrester, like Forbes or something like that. Anyway, yeah.
She goes,
Someone.
Why the hell are you working with AT&T? They've been a terrible partner for you. I tried to buy a Lumia phone and they didn't know anything about it, and their service sucks.
yeah.
And Elop, who is one of the best media trained executives,
very
God,
rehearsed.
thought
so
about
good.
it for a second and said, the answer there is an answer that's more about Nokia than AT&T. And he went on to talk about how there was a big opportunity for Windows Phone. They had to educate the consumer.
Right.
And it was like, no, dude, the calls drop.
Okay.
The question is like, why do you
but
keep partnering with AT&T when their network
No, but I
sucks?
will say, in Elop's defense, I've been to a lot of these press events or trade shows or whatever, where or conferences where somebody gets up and you've got like Tim
Zing.
Cook.
Yeah.
You know, it's like your question to Tim Cook. You could ask him anything you want. You're like, how come my AT&T service is so... I've actually heard people do this at conferences. How come my AT&T service is so bad? And it's like, you blew it, dude. I don't care. I don't care how bad you're... I don't care if your AT&T service, like, sexually assaults you in the night, okay? You have no reason to ask that question at that time. By the way, AT&T service can do that. Can and will, I'm ashamed to say.
Oh, God.
Really? Wow.
Clearly wrong with me.
Really rapey Verge.
I'm just saying, like you have your opportunity to ask a question.
It's just going to hit you with a penis.
It's like, don't you know? It's not even his. It's not even his. I don't care if your AT&T service slaps you in the face with its penis.
This is terrible. George is dying. Can you bleeping any of this shit out?
He's not bleeping.
He's just bleeping
He's
the
not
whole thing.
bleeping. Anyhow, what else about bleeping? What about the audio?
It's
How's the audio?
It's
on
great.
yeah.
It takes excellent videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does all the crazy camera stuff with the video too. You can zoom on the video.
Yeah.
Look, it's a really nice camera.
Right.
It happens to run Windows Phone. It has the weird grip thing that you can put onto it that turns it into basically a micro Four Thirds camera.
How much does that cost to do, to actually
$79.
It's not terrible. I mean,
Look, it's fine. Yeah, you've already spent $300.
but at that point, it's more than a power shot. I can get a point and shoot for cheaper.
So that's the thing. I mentioned this in the live blog. It's like all of the, apart from the insane size of the sensor, like not the physical size, but the 41 megapixel, almost all of this technology is like point and shoot level technology, right? It's like they have optical image stabilization, which a $79 point and shoot has. They have manual controls, which is they built a really nice point and shoot camera and they put Windows Phone on it.
Right.
And because they can't put a real lens assembly in it, they did this thing where they built a crazy 41 megapixel sensor, which is cool. It's like
There's something I have to say. There's something unappealing to me about this combination, and I'm not sure why. But I think what's really striking is what Apple was able to do with the iPhone 5 with its camera, which to me is just far and away. It just is the best phone camera. I don't know why. It just is really good.
So look, legitimately, this camera's better.
No, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is, but in order,
than the
no.
iPhone 5
This is what I was getting at. I'm sure it is, but in order to do that, they had to graft another device onto the back of a phone. And I feel like the phone should be a thing unto itself in the sense that if you can't, like, I don't want a phone that's half camera because you couldn't figure out how to make a better small sensor that could do something that could create incredible photos.
But to be honest, like,
and I think that,
so they did do something new, right? I mean, like this.
Well,
is
they did what Samsung did.
They did the second generation of this technology, which is
it's also Samsung just did this. They made a camera. Phone.
So if you look at the Galaxy camera, which when you put this thing into its battery grip, you can compare them one for one, right? Like they look the same.
Well, this is obviously better.
But if you kind of
as a camera,
they're
isn't
wildly different, right? The Galaxy camera is like a regular camera. It has like a movable lens. It has optical zoom.
Right.
It's a point and shoot camera that runs Android.
Right.
This is like Android cell phone or God, I wish it was
Windows Phone.
So Windows Phone, like a cell phone, but it has this insane camera that can approximate what a point and shoot can do.
and like that bump
Because it doesn't have a lens assembly like that. It has a cool
it
lens,
has a different lens,
but it doesn't let you do.
But
the
it
things
still
that a lens
is.
assembly does.
It is not just like a cell phone camera.
No, but is that protrusion really
that's
that
like-
annoying though?
Yeah, the protrusion, exactly.
It's like it doesn't seem that bad.
It's a little. It's like
It's a
it's like a
trade-off.
disc sitting on it. It's
Did
not
you
as
bring
big
one
as-
back for us?
No, I tried. Tried real hard. The yellow one's really beautiful.
Yeah, I'm pretty into the yellow one.
What are the colors? Are there? Or is it
Yellow, like
cyan?
graphite and
It's,
red.
no, it's just white, black, and yellow.
Yellow, black, white. I thought that the black looked kind of
Thanks,
like
John.
a graphite-y color,
It's like it has like a.
like a gray. It's like a dark gray almost.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, look, it's real cool. If you love Windows Phone, you should
Right.
buy this
That's
phone.
the problem.
Like that's the answer. If you love Windows Phone, you should buy this phone.
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't, and if you're committed to any other operating system, like it's still not.
You're not
there
buying.
still
It's
isn't.
not a
Windows-
compelling. You don't think it's compelling enough. Like that versus the iPhone 5, you're not going to go like.
If you have an iPhone 5 and you love it, you're not going to be like Windows Phone is so on par with
Right.
my iPhone 5 experience
Right.
that this additional hardware is worth the switching cost.
Right.
And that's like I basically asked Stephen Elop that question like 10 times in a row for 10 minutes, and he had a variety of different stock answers. But that is his company's biggest challenge.
But
Yeah.
to be honest,
like
this
that's
is like,
yeah.
if there was an iPod Touch variant of this, like it's not cellular, I would pay a couple hundred. Like it's a nicer point and shoot. It's slim. Like I can tether and get the stuff up there.
So you want like
I actually think a smart camera is nice. I would defend that. But I don't want to put it on a contract and like have to pay that monthly fee.
Yeah, $300 for the AT&T
Yeah.
service.
What is it off contract? $700?
Yeah, sure.
Probably.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, that's the price of the Galaxy S4 on.
oh, and there's no Instagram. So like,
Right.
which we ran, and I
No Vine. Is there Vine?
there will be Vine
There's
soon.
soon. They just announced it today.
No. Something else that's missing.
So we just ran this like wildly reviled piece about Instagram and like the future of like photo
Yeah,
editing apps,
yeah, yeah.
specifically with iPhoto.
Yeah.
And like, I'm watching how I see the people in my life use photos now.
Yeah.
And we ran a piece from James Barham about it, which is the reason Instagram is powerful is because it lets you take the photo, share it, and then look at other people's photos, like all
Right.
in one interface. And that's like, that's what the people want.
Yeah, I just don't get the impression that people are editing iMovies anymore. Like, I feel like it's like if you have kids and you are taking videos of them or whatever, you're not putting together elaborate edited things. You're doing like quick hits of what's going on
There's a reason Vine is popular.
in real time. You know,
Like, Vine is wildly
like you're
popular,
doing, or you're
right?
doing like I shot 2 minutes of my kid doing something and then I uploaded it to YouTube and I put it on Facebook, or I uploaded it straight to Facebook.
Right.
You know. And I just don't even know how the other thing makes sense. Like you're going to sit people down to watch the movie, like the grandparents.
Those tools have a place, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they built a really awesome camera
Yeah.
without the key tool.
Right.
They're still lacking the key tool
Right.
that is making smartphone
Well,
cameras more popular.
Instagram will happen eventually. I'm sure within 6 months
Well,
we'll
so
see
he-
Instagram
When
for
we
Windows.
said that a year
Phone.
ago, though, like we really don't know when it's
Right.
coming out.
And
Well,
on
I
top
mean,
of it,
but
like-
there are other ways to share photos. I mean, it's not the only way to
And
share
there's
photos.
all kinds of weird,
I mean, Twitter,
you know-
you can share just on Twitter. You can share on Facebook. You can share on. You can do on YouTube.
Right.
Well,
no, you can do all
okay,
these
maybe
things.
not-
and,
maybe not
You know,
on
But you
at
can't
one
go to where
point,
the audience
at
is,
one
though.
point, they're like, and we have a great new app called Ogle, and you can share directly to Ogle. And I was like, dude, what? Like, what are you talking about? They're like, a Viclone integration is built in, and everyone was like, what is Viclone?
What is it? What is it?
What are you talking
What is
about?
Viclone?
I don't know.
Well, now I kind of want to use
will tell you
Ogle.
that
Do they have that? Do they have Ogle
can
for
share-
Android?
Ogle, the new Hipstagram, Hipstamatic.
Hipstamatic.
Hipstamatic can
Yeah.
now share to both Ogle and Instagram. That was a big announcement.
Oh,
they
well,
made.
it's-
It
Can
was
you
like-
use
kind of
Ogle to
workaround.
share to Instagram
You can use Hipstamatic to share to Ogle and Instagram.
on Windows Phone?
Yes.
So
Well, there's
so
a kind of
Hipstamatic shares to
workaround.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh well, there you go.
But I don't think you can do the. I don't think you can see Instagrams in Hipstamatic.
But there's
Seems
a
like you should
there's
be
a
able
web
to. They
version of
have a
Instagram.
web
It's
interface.
janky, but I guess there's something you can do.
Yeah.
whatever, man. You can share to Ogle.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Can we
You
move
want
on?
to talk about your phones?
Yeah. So
Speaking of colors,
I've been speaking of colors. So I've been going back and forth. I have the review units of the
and this is my
Galaxy
one that I
S4.
purchased.
Yeah, I've been
That
really
arrived
torn.
yesterday.
I've been using a 1, and then the stock versions came out, and I've been for the past 2 weeks have been torn, literally going back and forth
Right.
every day, like swapping my SIM and trying to decide. So I now think I've reached a point where I'm saying, I think
What is Viclone?
that you're looking it up.
kinda wanna know.
I think that I'm going to get the S4.
For like real, your
You're gonna
personal
buy it.
phone.
Here are the things that happened. I was like,
okay.
a few days ago,
Stop,
I was using the S4 and I was like, screw this, I'm getting the 1. And I went back to the 1 and I was like, I just want to check it out before I place my order. And I was using it and it really started to bother me, like that the screen seemed smaller and that
Right.
it didn't have a home button and that it had that menu bar.
Yeah.
And there were just things that started bugging me about it that I had not noticed before using the S4. At this point, I think the screens are sort of negligible.
Nope, wrong. Absolutely wrong. The screen on the S4
no.
is a piece of junk. The more I look
don't think
at
it's
it,
a piece of
'cause
junk.
I got this
I-
one.
Is it
I think the
Are
one
you
has
angry
the
at
one
the
has
time?
a
I'm
little
telling you.
edge. The one does have a little
it's
edge.
not a little edge. That screen is bad.
It-
every time you scroll text on that screen, like it's like
I haven't noticed.
Hentai. It's
I
like an
haven't noticed.
explosion of bad.
I mean, you have an
There you go.
extreme sensitivity to the screen.
I have extreme sensitivity to screens that look like garbage.
I think that the one has an edge. It is less saturated and
We're Samsung. We make the displays and we pick the shittiest ones that we make
anyhow.
to put in our biggest margin
So
product.
there are all these little, but I think that here's what it comes down to. This is what's troubling me at this moment is I think that the 1 has better low light photography
Yes.
capabilities, but I think that its general photography when put side by side with this, like
Yeah,
on
that makes
a
sense.
bright day or in well lit scenes, I actually think this is a superior
Right,
camera. So I'm torn. This has a night mode, but the night mode is like kind of not that good. but it is passable.
But the question is where you take photos.
So the
Yeah.
so
Is it good enough for Instagram?
I take a lot of night photos.
I've
Take a lot of late night photos of my
I've
dog.
examined the evidence of your life on the various social platforms.
Yeah, but I also take day photos. Took one the other day.
Yeah, it was good. Up
But
at the sky.
how much
Everyone
difference
liked
can you
it.
notice on Instagram? Like, how much?
Well,
of a
I mean, I'm
difference-
just saying, I take pictures for myself, not for
By the way,
Instagram.
Viclone is a social video platform that lets you co-create, sync, and edit multiple views of a shared moment
Finally.
effortlessly.
Most of the pictures I
Barf.
take, I don't share on Instagram or anywhere else. You understand what I'm saying? Like they're just photos of things that I'm taking.
Right.
So I just want them to look okay. So anyhow, but I think I've decided to buy the S4, and the main motivator is this.
That's it.
Is
it's not
that
the buttons? It's
I think
not
this is the main
the
motivator.
awful screen.
Because the phones are basically both really good.
The screen's bad.
The phones are basically both excellent phones, in my opinion.
Right.
Okay, honestly, like it's side by side, they're both really good phones. But I first off, I really like this little like foldy back thing that they
Yeah.
make for it. You can replace the backs on it, and I have found several insane like Chinese-made backs for the S4. Here's one of them. I told you not to show the listing because I don't want anybody else to find
I
this.
don't think he heard you at that point.
Evan, don't show the listing. This is one back that I've
Jordan.
purchased. Jordan, don't show the listing. It's too late.
Yeah.
You've exposed me. Show the other one, which I think is really dope. Do we have it? We don't have it?
No.
We don't have it. Okay, fine. Well, I sent another one. Anyhow, so I've
we
just
find it, we'll put it
I've been
on
looking
later.
for all these insane backs. I ordered a green one, which I cracked,
Yeah.
flexing it, which is I posted a picture of it on Instagram. I did post that on Instagram. And then I ordered these and a fake leatherback one and some other stuff.
Are you
And
going to
this-
order the View one?
So here's the thing. I think the View one. This is one of the most annoying things about this case is that
The cover?
The cover covers the camera when you have it folded back. I'm like, oh, I gotta get a picture of that. Wait a second. It's like who designed that? But I know that Samsung makes one with a. They may have one that has like a little window.
It's got the
you should
little
get the
covers.
window.
So you
But
can
the
see
little window
status bar.
shows
That
that-
one only comes in black.
No, I think it comes in colors. No, I had an orange one.
An orange.
An
SD
intern
cover?
went and got me an
Oh,
orange
that's
one,
right. You
and then I
said,
was like, "That's the
a
wrong
poor
one," and he
intern.
returned it. Yeah. They make. Oh, there it is. That's the other case that I got, which I think looks
pretty.
amazing. It's not a case. I'm sorry. These are the backs. So it's like
Yeah.
a 100% part of the phone when you put it on, which because I hate cases.
Right.
So
But is the texture is not? It's not as slimy then. Like
it's slimy.
That one's
This
slimy.
one is less slimy.
It's-
no. This one's way less slimy. Also, Colorware does S4s now.
Yeah.
Which is like
It still
really
doesn't feel
tempting.
slimy.
So anyhow, the long and short of it is the cameras there's pros and cons. Hold on. Just let me finish. There's
No,
pros
I'm
and
looking
cons
at
on
my
both.
tweets.
There's pros and cons on both cameras.
Okay.
What are
Guys,
the tweets?
I know about Instance. I know about the third-party Instagram app. It's still not the Instagram app. Like,
Oh my God.
this Windows Phone
Don't let
argument.
them. Do not let them
dude,
get to
dude.
you.
This Windows
here.
Phone argument
It's
that there's
okay.
some weird
okay.
or SATS
Sorry.
version of every app that you could possibly want
Yeah.
is like, that's great.
yeah, it's like Insta check.
Yeah, like it's
Like,
yeah,
no.
like, I know
What
about
it's called?
it,
What is it
guys.
called? Instance.
It's not what people. Yeah, it's called
right.
Instance.
It's not
what
Instagram.
people want.
People
Like,
want Instagram. Anyhow, but getting back to my phone play, what it boils down to is this: both of these phones are great phones, in my opinion.
Right.
They both run the exact same version of stock Android, which is great. There are pros and cons, right? Like
Yeah.
the pros on that is like the hardware is way nicer than the S4, like
Yes.
by leaps. I actually made a list of pros and cons. By
I
the
know
way.
that you did. We talked
The
about
hardware
last
is way
podcast.
nicer. The sound is better. The screen has an edge.
The screen is so much
Fine.
better.
The screen is so much better.
Yeah.
The
But no,
camera
the buttons
does.
are stupid.
The camera does great low light.
Yep.
Okay.
And I
But,
would grant you the
but-
buttons are stupid.
And then you've got the cons, which is like the buttons are poorly placed. The not having a home button is not having a third button is really stupid.
Wasn't there-
the actual power button location? Like the more
So that's fine
the more
then.
I had a what's that?
I think that's. I thought.
Yeah, no, I know,
made
but
it
I'm saying the more I
'cause
use
had
this.
an Nexus 4,
So
right.
the other things
Yeah.
are like you can't replace the battery, and these phones are they're not like
Yeah.
the greatest with battery life. It's kind of cool to be able to swap at the battery, and I like the fact that you can change the backs. The cons on this one are really that the low light photography isn't that good, and the screen doesn't
Mediocre.
look. It's okay. I think it's actually a pretty good screen.
When you scroll,
compared to old
when you
Samsung
scroll up-
OLEDs.
Look, just it's very simple. When you have a flagship smartphone in your hand, the lead product from a company, and
Yeah.
you scroll the text and it's blurry,
I don't.
That's bad.
I honestly don't.
It's-
I will.
can't
Say, I'm
unsee
gonna.
it.
I'm gonna challenge you a little bit on that and just say I have never noticed text being blurry when scrolling it. Also, when it's scrolling, what does it matter what it looks
What are
like?
you
Because
reading?
It's
when it's
bad.
scrolling.
It just looks bad.
I've not had that
Is
experience.
it a teleprompter? Like, are you
I will
reading
say
it while
this.
scrolling?
I will say this. Both these phones, both stock versions of these phones, are very bad at regulating their brightness. Very bad.
Yes.
Both
Agreed.
require a third-party app, this app Lux, which I talked about in the last Vergecast, to properly regulate the brightness of these screens. I will say this screen is really annoying when you don't have the brightness tweaked because it's way down.
Right.
And it's like, it looks even worse. That one is too bright, in my
it's
opinion.
way too bright.
Yeah, you need to get Lux. But the fact is, so anyhow, I think I've made my decision. And I'm a little bit scared that I'm going to regret as soon as I place the order.
And
Yeah.
again, like, you like
No,
customized backs.
I went through an
what about
extreme.
Yeah, no, I
period of
know.
regret.
When I showed him the orange case, he was like, "Oh God, if I made the wrong decision."
No, and literally, like.
But now you feel like you've made the right decision.
I got this, and I opened the box yesterday, and I was like, "Oh shit, I bought this one."
Yeah.
And then,
What do you think?
Like, here's what I think. Like, these two devices aside,
Yeah.
my experience with Android going from a Nexus 4 to this device in just one day has been like, they run the same software.
Yeah.
Right.
But on the Nexus 4 feels really heavy to me and like dark.
Wide.
It's wide. No, but like just running Android on it bizarrely feels like super techy for some reason.
Okay.
And like it's like a very like it just feels heavy. And on this phone, it's like the phone's faster.
Well, yeah.
And everything feels like lighter and more airy. It's like
Yeah.
a really
Right.
weird, bizarre.
Yeah.
I think it's all the hardware. The software is
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
And that's been a revelation.
Here's my
like
Don
in just
Quixote
one
question
day.
though. Here's my dot to you. Why not wait for the Moto X just to see what it is?
I
You mean the
honestly,
ultimate
everything,
No
HTC
faith in it
first?
all.
everything I've heard about the Moto X leads me to believe that it is not going to. It's going to be kind of a mid-range device.
Well, that means it's going to have a 720p display.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm certainly not going down to a 720p.
And if
display.
it has a bad camera, then like it's a
Clearly,
moot
it
point.
doesn't
But
matter to your eyes.
No, it matters. This is not. I really think you're. I think part of
Harshing
it.
on a pixel layout that I've been harshing on for like 3 years.
I do not think the
definitely
screen.
doing
I
that.
really do not think the screen is that bad. Give me your phone. Let me open. I want to see maps side by side.
But am I the only one who actually has some hope for the Moto X here?
It sounds like it.
Damn. I'll wait. Whatever.
Oh, you have the new maps. Old maps, new maps.
No, I have the old maps.
Yeah.
Old maps.
I really want the new maps.
I don't think that'd be a good idea. Hold on. So let's just see here.
I don't think it's this. It's
You
I
can't
gotta
literally-
say,
see this
I
at
gotta
home.
say,
He's
my
just
screen-
zooming in.
your screen's brighter. Of course, it looks better.
He
Why
went
is your
home.
screen? Why is your screen so dark?
He looked at
Hold on a
notifications.
second. Is it on auto
He's
brightness?
sending a no. He's not sending a tweet.
Here, we'll make your. Here, we'll go to.
Riveting television on the Verge.
Yeah, this
Cast.
is.
The audio. The people listening to
He
this on
has
audio
gone
are
to the
loving
Verge
this.
app
Current-
on
yes.
both
I
devices.
like the narration actually.
He's now opened the Verge. Your screen's still brighter.
I love the narration.
Just scroll the
Hold on,
text.
wait a second. Let me get your screen to an equivalent brightness.
He is looking up porn on Eli's phone.
Your screen's bluer. I can see that. It's greener. Actually,
That's the porn.
Yeah.
I've
It's
just
blue.
gone.
So what?
It's very blue.
It's become fiction.
Okay, hold on a second. Just trying to get these.
I mean, this is. I don't have Lux on there. I had Lux on my.
I know. I know.
Okay. Can we?
Hold on. I'm just gonna scroll now.
Just watch. Look at the text. Just like shatter and move. It's weird.
Just trust me. This is thrilling in person.
I'm telling. It's not. It's
yeah,
not,
I mean, I
This
guess that's
is
just
so
not something I'm
fascinating.
looking at.
I can't unsee it. I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
I don't know. It just doesn't. That just doesn't bother me at all.
It's fine. Look, we all have.
That is just
there's
not. We
different
all have our
we care
things.
about. Yeah.
I
And I
mean-
can't deal. Like my eyes are like, gross. Stop it. But the motion on the screen is bad, and these
He's
interfaces are
now
all
just
about motion.
running through the panels.
No,
I
this
don't
is
know.
Josh's.
I don't-
This
that's
is
my
his
test.
number
This
one
is
test.
Josh's
It's his test.
This is how. Yeah.
For years, it's been like, all right, is this a good processor? Let me just scroll through the apps real fast.
Let
not
me
about-
ruin everything.
It's not just the processor, okay?
Look,
It's-
what
Right,
you
of
get.
course.
There's lots of
Oh,
colorful backs.
I'll tell you
and
the
a
other.
button.
I'll tell you the other thing
This is
that I
exciting.
remembered that I now and I said I complained about this. I've complained about it for a while. I wanted a phone with it. I didn't like it on the one, and now I'm so reminded of how incredible it is. Of how incredible it is.
Okay.
The colored the RGB LED on this.
God.
When you use it with light flow, no, it is incredible. I can glance at my phone and I know like I've got some tweets, I've got an email from this account, from that account, I've got a text message, and not know all of that just by glancing at a little light on the phone. It's kind of incredible. Okay. Anyhow, so I think at the end of the day,
Here's the third week in a row where we've talked about these two
yeah,
phones.
it's
Yes.
depressing. Anyhow, so I'm buying the S4. And I'll have to suffer the consequences. What's most annoying is I have to set up another phone.
I'm gonna wait for the Moto X.
I've set up these two,
Yeah.
and now I have to wipe them and go set up another one when I get
So
to
there's
So that's it. There, are you happy, everyone? And of course, now Jim Dalrymple will write a scathing post on his Apple fanboy site about how I'm on the take from Samsung because I said I'm going to buy one of their phones. So get ready, everybody. Get ready, trolls.
Yeah.
to unleash your fury.
God, I hope that Samsung money tastes good.
I'm going to spend Samsung money to buy the Samsung phone.
cheddar. Yeah.
Does it taste like Magna Carta Holy Grail?
It tastes like.
That's where I'm going, actually.
Oh, is that where you?
I was
Good
going to go
segue.
to the Jay-Z thing.
Good segue.
Because, that's Samsung money right there.
Yeah. Speaking of.
I was just like...
You had the best transition.
I
And then
did.
Just,
I'm trying to figure out what part of this disaster to go into.
let's start from the beginning.
Just start.
So Samsung...
I'm just checking my.
So
see what's
Samsung and
going on
Jay-Z
on Twitter.
partnered to release his new record, right? They're going to give it away with an app to all these Samsung phones. People
1
with
million
Samsung
of them,
phones.
yes.
1 million of them. Guaranteed to go platinum right away.
for Billboard, for RIA.
Hey, by the way, somebody
Billboard
just
will not
suggested a
recognize
really
it.
good Lumia name to me. Lumia Focus.
Oh, that's
That's
good.
Yeah.
Elop,
Think
you're
about
listening.
it. That's Marciano
Yeah.
at
All right.
at Marcy Plan.
That's where the royalties go.
Okay,
Yeah.
go
Right to
ahead.
that Twitter
Anyway,
account.
To that guy. Go on.
Jay-Z app. The thing leaks anyway. The record leaks anyway. The app is kind of a weird disaster. It doesn't work on the
Rick
day.
Rubin.
It crashes a lot. It asks for all kinds of insane permissions from you.
Yeah,
right?
well,
Which
what was-
apparently our Verge app does as well, which I have to look into.
We'll look into that.
I
But,
don't know if that's. I don't know why that is. I think that's probably some sort of weird.
It might just be like laziness. Or not,
Yeah,
not
we're
saying our
certainly
app,
not
but
collecting. We're certainly
yeah.
not collecting
Yeah.
information. So
And then the worst part is to unlock the lyrics, you have to tweet. Like, I just read these lyrics from this app.
Right.
And so people are like, there's like lots of spam.
yeah, but once one person
So
gets
then
the lyrics,
Jay-Z he literally said, this is not cool. Like,
Yeah.
this has been
well, he
not-
said he said a lot
was-
of things.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't cool, and that, but he actually was kind of. It's interesting what he said, which was, I've got to like. We tried something, it didn't work perfectly, and the next guy will get it better than we got
so this
it.
line from Jay-Z is
Yeah.
really insane. It was 20 million hits for the app and it broke. No one is expecting it. There's no way in the world for you to calculate 20 million hits.
Yeah.
It's not even a number you can fathom. You cannot prepare for a service
You cannot
like that.
fathom
the
20
numbers,
million
it's
hits.
20 million.
Can you imagine 20 million of anything
I just
at
want
all?
Are you rap? Oh,
because there's
he's
he has
going
a
to
line.
rapgenius.com.
I want
Alright.
to look up his lyric just to point out.
It goes. It's not
Do you
Rap
know-
Genius song meetings work too.
What is his
No,
lyric?
there's a specific lyric. Why, Rap Genius, you're failing me.
Oh, Rap Genius fail.
What song? What song?
Looks like Rap Genius isn't the hot startup
He
we
does
all
math
thought
on
it
one of-
was.
On one of his lyrics, and I will say this record is like it's not. It's okay. But one of his
is-
lyrics is like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 20 million. I'm so good at math. Like, that's a lyric. on
no,
Magna
it's
Carta,
not.
Holy Grail.
No, really?
Yes.
Oh,
Hold
you
on.
can't fathom that. I don't know how. Okay, anyhow, like this is much better TV
Oh, here we go.
than the thing I was doing.
You're right. 1
right.
million, 2 million, 3 million, 20 million. Oh, I'm so good at math. Might crash your internet, and I ain't even into
He
that.
predicted it in the song.
When I was
Wait,
on Instagram,
what? Whoa.
last thing you wanted was your picture snapped.
Wait, wait, whoa, hold on.
in the song.
You're telling me that Jay
It's Somewhere in
Z.
America.
Somewhere
That's
in
a song-
America, no
that's a song
spaces.
that ends with him saying "twerk, Miley, Miley, twerk," which is an amazing way to end a
Yeah.
song.
So he says
1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 20 million. Oh, I'm so good at math. Might crash your internet, and I ain't even into that.
might crash the internet.
You cannot prepare for a service like that. Like, dude, it's in your song.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
he might have just been quoting himself then.
No, you cannot prepare for a service like
Yeah.
Can't prepare
when
for
I
that.
was when I was writing the lyrics
He
of the
said
album I intended to give
he
away.
actually did. So he did prepare.
Yes.
It's like, by the way, if we get to 20 million, it might crash the internet. So maybe
Just letting
make
you
sure
know.
that doesn't happen to the app.
Because
Yeah.
he's not, I repeat, not into that.
Not into that.
Not into that.
No, I
He's got
understand.
a- he's got a
Anyhow,
tweet.
did you listen to the record?
You did.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
listened to it yet.
It's okay.
I actually really don't like Jay Z at all.
So
Is that
I
okay
really
to say?
like-
Yeah.
I've never cared
I
for
think
Jay-Z.
it's safe to say that Jay-Z and Kanye West should always work together.
Yes.
And Kanye should make the
music
music.
Well,
and,
Well,
Jay-Z should write the lyrics. Yeah.
Like, it's very obvious
I
that
will.
that's what should
I
happen.
will say that like Yeezus has become now that I've learned more of the lyrics of Yeezus. Like the first
Mm.
few listens, I wasn't really listening. I said this on one of the On the Verges.
Yeah.
I said it's musically
Musically
inventive,
inventive,
lyrically
lyrically
bankrupt, and the more you listen to it, the less inventive the music sounds. Because once you hear the music, you're like, oh, I've heard it now, and then you know what it's like. It's not surprising. Then you start to really focus on the lyrics.
Yeah.
and it is like punishingly stupid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I don't know if he's trolling everybody.
Did you read the
by
Alexis
having,
Madrigal thing where he was like, the whole point of this record is that Kanye doesn't care what his lyrics mean?
I
Which I
don't
thought
know.
was very
I don't know if I
interesting.
read that, but I read some other stuff that was really great about just like critiques of the lyrical content.
Yeah.
No, I
it is
just,
like it is just so weird to me how stupid it sounds. Just dumb.
So I was
Just like a dumb guy.
kind
But
of
like
a
I don't
tangent.
think he's a dumb guy.
No, he's not.
So that's why I'm trying to figure out if it's some sort of elaborate troll.
So kind of a tangent. I just
I think yes.
I just read
It's
the
called Yeezus. I think like from the beginning.
Well,
it's like
hurry up with my
it's
damn
ultra
croissants.
elaborate.
God.
Go ahead.
So no, I just went
Might
through
crash your
Questlove's memoir, Mo Meta Blues.
Oh, yeah.
really good. Highly recommend it.
Questlove book.
Questlove book.
Yeah.
He has an extended passage on Kanye West. This isn't like new Kanye. It's talking like kind of when he came out in the scene. It kind of left and center. And the thing like that Amir Quest was talking about, he loved so much was like, unlike other rappers, Kanye knows he's materialistic and he just wants to flaunt it. And you look at the, like you listen to the earlier lyrics, which were clever. Like it was
Yeah,
embracing
but,
it. Now he's
I
just
mean, like the
he's gone
single
something
off of
else.
Jay-Z's record is literally about him buying fine art.
Oh, was it
Picasso.
The thing
like, it's literally him being like,
He did this performance
I'm going to
for
buy
it.
a Rothko.
yeah.
There's like a Basquiat in my kitchen. My child
But
can lean on it.
he
because-
rhymes
like
without
it's like ridiculous.
But the thing is-
That's upsetting to me. That is really upsetting.
Jay-Z
Yeah.
rhymes it thinking he's still street. Kanye is like, I'm just buying
no,
shit.
Jay-Z's like bored. Like he's like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna rap about how incredibly rich I am,
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
good I am. At
Well, what
having
else
gotten
is
this
what
rich.
else is going on for him?
Yeah.
Just being rich.
I would
He's
rather
got a
take
baby.
Kanye being like, I'm
He
gonna
did- he
try
rapped
to
about
be
the baby.
like shocking about race relations. Like
No, that's good. I'm glad the shocking stuff about race stuff is amazing.
Yes.
It's the stuff that's around it. It's like one line, really great point about race relations
Look,
in America.
everyone is
the
two
next,
people.
The next line
Everyone is two
about
people. A
about,
guy, there's
about
a- there's a-
banging rich women in the Hamptons.
and
It's like
aren't we all both of those people?
No,
Aren't
we're
we
not.
all both?
I'm 100.
scathing-
I'm 100% Hamptons.
Here's like
No, I don't
Kanye
know
gets
what
so
that
close every time. The one that killed me the most.
Why
was
are we talking about Yeezus?
Because we always talk
about
Yeezus.
Yeezus.
Look, no one could have predicted.
We
how
always,
many-
in 10 years of the Vergecast.
You can't prepare-
Let's talk about. It's the time to talk about,
We'll be
about
bitching about the
Yeezus.
Blueprint 5 and
All right, what else do we have on our list?
Apple. We have a lot of Apple
Yes.
stuff to talk about.
What?
We have a
Oh
lot
my
of-
God,
we have a lot of
Apple.
Apple stuff to
Dude.
talk about.
Oh my God.
two big
Yeah.
things about Apple.
Okay, Apple ebook
Yes.
Yes.
And
price.
the App Store.
Apple,
So
Apple
poor-
ebook prefix.
Poor
So
Eddie
poor, so poor Apple. The day the App Store turned 5.
Oh, right.
Which is a big deal.
Oh, right.
Jesus.
Yeah, Apple Store
Massive
5. Happy birthday.
Industry changing.
And,
events.
Casey wrote. It was Casey, right?
Casey.
Yeah, yeah.
Wrote a
Casey
great
wrote a
report.
great piece about the App Store turning 5, and
Right.
and Apple basically changing the world again. I mean, I will say this: like the iPhone changed the world. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're from. It changed the world in a lot of ways, and I think that it's almost like you forget that. But most people don't even know at this point. Most people who have an iPhone, but you forget that this apps were a thing that had to happen.
yeah.
And also
And
what
they
you-
almost didn't, right? Steve Jobs
Yeah.
was like really resistant.
he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to say, like, you got to say that the homebrew community really drove this.
Yeah.
I mean, the jailbreakers, you know, they don't get the credit, and I feel like they really deserve it. I think that the jailbreaking community drove Apple to do this in a lot of
Well, they
ways.
saw it
I
was possible.
I think they saw it was possible, but I mean, I think they also realized that if they didn't do it, somebody else was going to.
Right.
You know, and that it would become increasingly easy, which it had become increasingly easy to just jailbreak. I mean, I remember there was like Ashton Kutcher was like tweeting about jailbreaking his
Ashton
eye.
challenge.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was what I was like challenging his nerd
Yeah.
cred. Having become an advisor to Vox Media, I now believe he has nerd cred. And anyhow,
Best
We'll-
sponsorship ever, dude.
but no, I don't. He still hasn't built a PC, which I'm waiting for. Oh, I'm gonna. Maybe it's at some point in the future I'll have an opportunity to talk to him about that. But
Building his own PC.
that's the challenge.
Ask him. Air cooled.
Or no, what was it? He was going to build a time machine
Yeah, that's
Right.
to go back in time and kill Hitler.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
He had to
Ashton
jailbreak an
Kutcher
iPhone and then go back in
has to
time.
build a time machine and then go back in time and kill Hitler.
Yeah.
To prove that he's got nerd cred. Well, he did. Now he has starred as Steve Jobs in a movie.
Yeah.
So
which comes out next month.
yeah, I don't know. He has a computer in 2.5 Men.
There you go.
He definitely has one. I've seen images of him carrying around a computer. Anyhow, the point is, what were we talking about?
2.5 Men.
No, before that. Oh, the App
Yeezus.
Store.
Jesus.
Does he listen to Yeezus and 2.5 Men?
I'm sure.
What does he think of Blood on the Leaves?
The point
and
is
racial injustice and moms.
that
By the way, another killer Jay-Z lyric. I don't pop Molly. I rock Tom Ford.
Tom Ford liked that lyric.
I don't,
I'm sure the
I don't,
song is called
I don't
Tom
understand
Ford.
it. I don't
It
understand
It means that he doesn't get high on ecstasy. He gets high on fashion.
Oh,
That's
I
where his
see.
money
Okay.
goes.
Because he can buy Tom Ford tuxedos.
But, well, oh,
Which is cool.
The App Store.
I mean, if I-
yeah, the point was that Ashton Kutcher was tweeting that he's jailbreaking his iPhone because this is pre-App Store, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it was pre-App Store. And anyhow, the point is that I think that those guys really drove a lot of this.
Well,
but it was a revolution.
And this is like a
the App Store
classic Apple revolution because the idea was there, right? You could do apps on the Palm. You could do apps on Windows Mobile. You could
They cracked
do
it. They cracked
super apps on the BlackBerry.
And, well, Apple made this great framework. It's like, look, you're not going to do everything in the system, but you have this app. Do whatever you want, self-contained.
Like, yeah, and they made the store. And the key was the store, right? The distribution and the payment and the centralized like experience of the store. How are you doing over there?
I'm just reading some tweets.
Yeah.
Just reading some tweets.
Just completely
tweets?
zoned out.
I don't know.
So anyway,
somebody said that does Apple have more than 30,000 employees? Somebody just said they have 80,000. That doesn't sound right.
That
to me,
sounds
though.
insane.
Let's see.
Google away, Ross.
It could be right though.
What was the last file?
Ross,
I
you've
thought
been
it
very
was-
useful on this.
I
You
thought it was
got
30.
my song lyrics.
I like to think
I wanna be- I wanna
come
come-
interruption. That's who I look up to.
I want to come correct. I just don't want to be wrong on that.
Yeah.
I
Anyway, so
definitely
the
they had
same
30,000
day-
at one point. I
The
can tell you
same
that.
day they celebrated the App Store, they got handed a brutal verdict in their ebook price fixing case.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, I have no idea what Apple likes to fight out its lawsuits, which they obviously won the lawsuit against Samsung in a major way.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
the
not
price,
really.
The price fixing
I actually feel that in some ways
they
really,
won the lawsuit.
They won the lawsuit,
whatever,
but they lost some weird part of the mind share that I think has led to Samsung's dominance, current dominance.
whatever. They won the lawsuit.
I mean, of course, not their revenue dominance, but anyhow, go on.
Anyway, so all of the publishers have settled this lawsuit. So the United States Department of Justice says this is antitrust. You all colluded to bring down Amazon and to raise the overall prices of.
And
ebooks.
is there settlement? Is that like used in the case? Was that
no,
the
you can't.
you can't allow that, right? Yeah.
Can't allow
Did
it.
they admit guilt when they did settle or no?
No.
I think part of the settlement was that they're like, we're not guilty.
Right.
But we're giving you money
settle,
that seems it.
And whatever. So
Right.
Apple doesn't settle. They fight it out. They put their executives on the stand. Their executives get beaten up by the Department of Justice attorneys.
Not literally.
Yeah.
Intellectually.
Eddie Q has some
Intellectually
big
beaten
fists.
The judge, in her opinion, says, Eddie Q was on the stand. He was saying these things. They did not find him credible. Like,
Wow.
it's at that level of like they didn't do so well at trial.
Right.
And the enormous body of evidence is that the publishers were so scared of Amazon and Amazon's power over the market that when Apple showed up, they saw the opportunity to make them all collude to enter the market with iBooks.
But the collusion,
Right. So Apple's goal, they explicitly said, we don't want the iBook store to compete with Amazon on price. We don't want to be in that game. We want to compete with Amazon iPad to Kindle. So the books are the same, the prices are the same, and then we think people will pick the iPad. They don't want to get in their price war.
Right.
But so the collusion was just changing a model. It wasn't saying raise your prices.
It wasn't
was
all
changing
the,
to a
the
legitimate
things
model.
that people have focused on in this case are like kind of like the red herrings. Like it's not the agency model.
Right.
It's not the final prices. It's literally that Apple saw the opportunity to not compete on price. They saw that the publishers wanted higher prices, and they organized a conspiracy to block Amazon from competing against them on price and to raise the overall price of ebooks from $9.99 to $12 and $14.
So basically being able to say, like, we're all going to do this together. Don't worry about it.
And
Right.
they were instrumental, and they kept on sending emails to publishers saying things like, "This is your only shot to do this. We're the only people with the power to do this against Amazon."
right.
And the judge was like, "This is overwhelming that they had the knowledge they were going to do something illegal, and they did it." And there's a big section in the opinion about Steve Jobs where she's like, here are some emails from Steve Jobs, like other executives, where he lays it out, and he's like, we're going to push the prices higher, or you can go in with Amazon and see how that goes. And then there's a video of Steve Jobs talking to Walt Mossberg at the iPad launch, where he's like, the prices are going to go up, trust me.
Right.
And like she's like pointing to this video, it's like,
Yeah.
that's,
Really
there's your
weird
evidence.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know, like people have been asking, John Gruber at WWC asked me like straight up, he's like, what's going on with the ebooks case? It seems like, Amazon was the big power and Apple just entered the market. And it's like, yeah, but they did it. It's literally that they were so scared, the publishers were so scared that they were convinced to do illegal things to compete with Amazon.
Right.
There was this
but
weird
but that
part of
doesn't change.
That doesn't excuse the illegal
That doesn't
behavior.
excuse. I mean, but at the end of the day, somebody tweeted something where it was. I saw somebody retweet something where it was like the worst conspiracy ever because they didn't.
They
didn't-
They
achieved their
bragged
goal.
about it, too.
Yeah, but they didn't. But their success has been extremely limited.
Yes.
Apple's success has been limited, but the
Yeah.
publishers got exactly what they wanted,
Yeah.
right? They got the agency model and the price of books is
Well,
higher.
is that all blown apart now or what?
We'll see.
Yeah,
Apple has a lot of appealing left to do.
I actually, on interesting side note, not sort of related, not not totally related, but I was surprised to learn that my cousin has 2 sons, and one of them had a birthday. He's
You're
like,
surprised to learn the cousin.
no. I'm telling,
This will
starting
come
this
back at some
story.
point. All right.
One of them I think just turned 7. It's 2 boys, it's like 11 and 7 or something. I don't know their ages exactly.
Okay.
Anyhow, he bought them both. It was one's birthday, and he bought them both Kindle Fires. And I was actually really surprised that. I mean, I guess it's just weird to think about. He's just like, he's a lawyer. He lives in Pittsburgh. I mean, he's they're like a very, normal, lovely family. But I guess it's just weird to think about like what a kid would do with a Kindle Fire.
What do you mean?
I don't know. It just seems strange to me.
Read books.
No, I know.
Educate,
Read books,
learn,
watch TV,
Angry
over
Birds.
and over again.
Yeah, use apps, I suppose.
Porn.
I just think it's interesting.
How old are the kids?
Like I said, there's like 7 and 11 maybe, or 8 and 11 or something.
Porn.
Yeah, they're just little They bought their kids a computer.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me. I guess that's what
they're-
people are doing.
And they're really cheap computers.
Yeah, no, I get that. It just struck me as very interesting.
What should they have bought them instead?
I don't know. I guess I expect like if you're going to buy somebody a tablet, you get an iPad.
Yeah.
But they're very expensive.
Right.
I was thinking like, yeah, they are really
Even
expensive.
the minis,
to
like,
buy
what,
for two
$350?
to buy for 2 kids. Yeah, $350.
80,000 employees for Apple.
80,000, 50,250
Oh, they have
in the US.
80,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
80,000
wow.
worldwide,
Wait.
50,000 in the US.
Okay, so that's like actually grown a lot since
should
the
have signed
last.
some of them
That's
to
grown a
iTunes.
lot since the last time I looked at their Wikipedia entry, which was not that long ago.
5,000 created since 2012, 21,000 US jobs added since 2008.
Okay.
So they've been growing.
That's
at a
pretty
much
crazy.
like a really rapid
Yeah,
pace.
yeah. Wow. Okay, I'd stand totally corrected. I for some reason I thought the number was 30. I don't know where that number came from. Just like you don't know where your 10,000 number came from.
idea
for
where
my-
that number
Let's
came
just.
from.
Can I just say that I was
10,000
less off than Eli was. I was less off about Apple than Eli was about
10,000 in
Microsoft.
2002, like 11
Yeah.
years ago.
That's
probably-
Microsoft or Apple.
Apple.
How many
no,
of these
he was
employees?
saying
you're
Microsoft.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right. Anyhow, what else do we have on the list? Is that it?
There's other stuff.
That's
going
about.
on.
What else?
That's about it for the big stories.
Viewer questions. Any questions from the
We haven't done that in a long time.
Any
we
questions
should
from?
start doing that again.
Yeah.
Let's take some phone calls. Remember when we used to take phone calls?
I would love to.
Let's do it
Big-
again.
Let's do a
big
phone call.
Papa
Jordan, are
Joe.
we set up for a phone call?
I don't think we are right now, but
What else happened this week?
Hey, Jordan got a haircut.
He did.
Jordan, did you get a haircut? Yeah, it looks good. Let's see here.
no, we had a couple of big reports this week. If you want to talk about that, Amr
I mean,
Tor.
people are
Let me
people
just
are
read-
really mad about the Apple getting the Apple job numbers wrong.
Sorry,
man.
sorry, dude.
I apologize, guys.
Look, let me just
80,000.
read to you from Steve Ballmer's note.
Actually, this would
Although
be
we
good.
will deliver on multiple devices and services to execute and monetize the strategy, this single core strategy will drive us to set shared goals for everything we do.
Wow.
Read some angry tweets.
What is this? What is
Uh-oh.
somebody showing me here?
It's someone being slapped with a penis.
No, I
All
don't-
parts of the company will contribute to activating high-value experiences for customers.
no idea what's going on. All right,
I'm just reading.
I should never ever look at Twitter while
You
we're
should
broadcasting.
definitely not. There's a
All right,
reason
that's our
I only-
show. I think that's.
I took your laptop away from you
I
like
know.
3 years
I know.
ago.
Well, I've been avoiding. I've been avoiding this thing.
You just can't stop.
I
Picking
can't stop picking
the
up this
grossest
beautiful
feeling phone
orange.
in the industry.
No. These backs are less slimy. They're considerably. Just feel it. It's considerably less slimy.
This
Okay, it's still binary though. It's slimy.
It's not slimy.
It's a little slimy.
I mean, you're being harsh for no reason. This is not slimy. Okay.
it's beautiful.
This feels exactly. That feels exactly like a MacBook Air.
If you, yes,
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
I like
It's
touching
actually
a
the
MacBook
exact
Air.
color. I mean, turn it over. I mean, it's like the same metal. It's
That's
actually
wonderful.
kind of
Yeah,
stunning.
wouldn't it be cool if it just like sank in there?
just like.
All right, well,
molded.
that's the Vergecast for this week. We'll be back next week, obviously.
To talk about
if,
Yeezus.
If to talk about
And
Yeezus.
to stock
if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at vergecast@theverge.com. You can leave a comment on the post when it goes up. We love that. You could post something in our forums about the Vergecast. Criticism. Only
You can write
criticism.
me super angry hate mail.
You can write Neeli email at neeli@theverge.com.
Yep.
Anyhow, and you can obviously find us on Twitter. Verge is at Verge. I'm Joshua Topolsky. Neeli is Reckless. Ross Miller is Oh No Roscoe. No E on the end.
Should I just add an E?
No.
Will it make
No,
it-
I've been saying no E on the end for years.
I know.
And that's it. We'll be back next week. And as always, no matter what happens to your family, I'm sure you'll be all right.